and you stay in touch with God all the time. You have a God connection. You have a very good God connection.
It's just amazing because this connection now that I have with God, I didn't have, to be quite honest with you, I did not have that while I was going to church.
You are curing your cancer. It is you doing that. And you're doing it with God. Like when you feel that eraser come in and erase that thing, that you found, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an eraser comes in and erases it. Have you noticed that?
Say it again.
Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have, yes.
Well, that's God doing that.
Right. Can I be honest with you with something?
Oh, no, we wouldn't want to do that.
Okay. Well, if it's not appropriate to say, then when you edit, then you can take this out.
You can say anything you want, Angela. It's okay, really.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if you can identify with me. Now, when I was small, I've been brought up in church, or churches, like going to church with my mother and everything, believing in God. And, even though my mum's obviously is gone back to her country and I'm here in London, I still attend church and everything. And the ironic thing I would say, in church we talk about things like healing, and God will heal you. And for many years I could never connect, if you know what I mean. But it's like since I've come into the immunics, it's like I've connected and it's like I understand it better. But I was thinking, going to church for so long, like from when I was small, I would have thought the leaders would, I'm not trying to bash them or anything, I would have thought the leaders would have things like this, like healing under wraps, because I've witnessed a few people in church who had cancer and had died. And I was thinking, well, why didn't God save them then? Because, we're all Christians and we go to church.
You know what? The problem, Angela, the problem with church is that most people don't actually connect with God in church. And even the ones that do, like there are people who simply asked God to heal them and it happened. Those people exist, okay? They're real. They are the tiny minority. Most people go to revivals and do not get healed or connect with God. They're just doing what they think they're supposed to do and it doesn't work. Other people, for example, there's a cancer surgeon named Bernie Siegel who told a story. And the story was about a guy who came in for a checkup and they told him, you have terminal cancer and you can't leave the hospital. You have to stay here, we'll get you a bed, we have to immediately start treatment or you're going to die. You're going to be in the hospital a couple of weeks, then you're going to go home, but you won't be able to do very much. And this guy said, well, I can't do that because it's time to plant my garden now. It's the spring and I have to go home and plant my garden. That's the story. So the guy walked out of the hospital. He never got treated. 7 years later, he was still planting his garden every spring. No cancer.
Wow.
He didn't go to church. He didn't pray. He went home, planted his garden, and the cancer disappeared. Now, the guy who told the story is not me. It's a cancer surgeon named Bernie Siegel, a doctor, in a book that I read. I got an audio book by Bernie Siegel. He has a lot of stories like that. There's a lot of stories like that in his books. Okay. So the point is, he was doing what you're doing. Except the form his thing took was planting the garden.
Oh, right. Yes, I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know that you've only been doing this a few weeks, so you're gonna remember this story in a few months, and it will make even more sense to you. And you will realize that that guy was doing what you're doing. But you're doing it consciously and intentionally. And you're identifying minutiae. See, another thing, there are a lot of people who are in church and they are connected to God. It works for them. Church works for them. They go to church. You can see it. You go. I know of some Christians that live up the street from me. They are connected to God through their Christianity. At least the parents are. The daughter is a religious fanatic who cannot connect to God. But she is still, she sees herself as a fervent Christian. She's a fanatical Christian. But she has no God connection. You with me? You understand?
Yeah, yeah. I do.
But her parents, they have a God connection. They're really inside of it. And they have healing and cure, and they attract the wonderful things, and the law of attraction's working for them. It's all happening for them. It's just great, what they're doing. But they don't know how they're doing it exactly. Like, you see, you know how you're doing it.
Yeah, the difference, yeah.
And if something goes wrong, you know how to figure it out and make it go right.
Yeah.
See? And you stay in touch with God all the time. You have a God connection. You have a very good God connection.
It's just amazing because this connection now that I have with God, I didn't have, to be quite honest with you, I did not have that while I was going to church.
Yes, I know. For you, you had to really do this to connect with God. This is what a lot of people have to do. They will never connect with God unless they do this, what you are doing. They can't do it with church. That's most people, by the way.
Sorry?
That's most people.
Okay.
Well, I started following an Indian guru when I was 15, which I still am. His name is Meher Baba.
Yes, I heard it on the MP3, yes.
Right, and there's a Meher Baba Center here in, South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And when I go there, what I notice is it's like the people who go there are like in the Christian church. Most of them cannot connect. They want to, they wish they could, they really want to, but they need to do this. They can connect if they do this, but they just can't connect that way. They can't relate to it. It's just like trying to relate to Christ or Moses or Muhammad or whoever. They can't do it. They cannot do it. It's just more like a superstition with them. Which superstition is another immune dysfunction.
Okay, I've just got one more question to ask you. As I was going through the lesson, I tend to deviate and go under everything that is underlined, double click and just read up on what it's saying. Another interesting thing that I came across was something called a spiritual guide.
Yes, spirit guide. Area code 813-672-3419. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da.